Well, welcome everybody to Division 6's Super Summer Series. I'm your host, Trustee 2, Mandolin Dillahunt, stationed at Kirtland. Well, my husband is. I'm kind of just a follower. But I want to say welcome to everybody. Welcome to all the new leadership from chapters. I'd like to introduce the EC that's on the call tonight. First off, Division President, Senior Master Sergeant Cole Bappe. Division Vice President, Tech Sergeant Nathan Dilbler. Trustee 1, Master Sergeant Retired Michael Ward. Trustee 4, Chief Master Sergeant Andrew Duenas. Division Treasurer, Chief Master Sergeant Retired Bob Tomlinson. Division Legislative Trustee, Chief Master Sergeant Retired Jim Lokovic. And from our satellite chapter, our special guest from Sadocano, Tech Sergeant Sean Hastings. Welcome, everybody. DP Bappe, would you like to tell us the why of why we're doing these trainings and these all calls with the chapters?
Yes, thank you, Trustee Dillahunt. Welcome. From what I see, we've got 9 chapters online. We see a lot of familiar names. We'd love to see the familiar faces too, right? But we get it. We get it. It's a virtual call. I don't know. Senior Advisor Tanza is looking pretty dapper in his photo there. Looking good, Rob. Love to see it. But really, the why here is this is your division. Your chapters, y'all are the grassroots level, and y'all have a voice in multiple ways with AFSA, right? One such voice is going to be in your chapter level, right? At your local chapter level through elections, your chapter has a voice, you all have a voice, right? And with your voice at the chapter level, that carries over to the international level as well. Being on the international level, we're talking about the international conference where we get to show up, show out, talk some AFSA business, celebrate. You get to hear the association and general membership get to hear your voice if you so desire, to get up to that microphone and speak during discussions. You get to vote, right? So this is your division, your association, but we got to make sure that we got those procedures down. We got to make sure that our communication is on point. And as you've heard me say a few times, right? The biggest feedback we got is that communication just wasn't there. So that's why we got the y'all calls. And the international conference, it's coming up quick. There's a lot to do in a short amount of time. If you're not in good standing, you've still got time to get your documents turned in, get your A&Fs, to get your audits, to get your budgets. And then don't forget about the documents you need to vote, right? And we're going to go over all that tonight. And then we're going to touch on the international conference as well, get you all armed up. And you can look at the jerseys we've got on. There's still some time. You can probably get them ordered and wear them at the conference. But with that, that's the why. Communication, and make sure that your voice and your chapter's voices are heard. And with that, I will turn the floor back over to Trustee Dillahunt.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to introduce our presenters for the night. First off is going to be Chief Master Sergeant Bob Tomlinson, who served on active duty from 1973 to 2000 as a personnel manager with assignments both overseas and throughout the continental United States. Retiring from Buckley Air Force Base in Aurora, Colorado in June 2000, following his military career, he served 17 years as an Air Force civilian in education and training and contracting. His final position was Supervisory Contract Specialist and Contracting Officer with the 460th Contracting Flight at Buckley Air Force Base, where he retired in June 30th, 2017. A lifetime member of the Air Force Sergeants Association since 1983, Bob has held numerous leadership roles at the chapter and division levels, including Division 11, Trustee, Vice President, President, and Treasurer. Since 2013, he has served on Division 6's Treasurer and Colorado Region Rep. Bob enjoys bowling and golf and lives in Aurora with his wife, Sandy, Master Sergeant Retired, to whom he has been married for 53 years. They have one daughter, Denise, and 2 grandchildren. Also presenting tonight is Andrew Duenas, who has served 32 years in the Air Force and Air National Guard, retiring as a Chief Master Sergeant in January 2013. He enlisted in the Air Force July 30th of 1981 as a Weapons Control System Specialist on the F-4E fighter aircraft at Moody Air Force Base, Georgia. As an F-4E was retired, he retrained as an Information Systems Control Specialist. After 10 years of active duty, including an assignment with the 7th Communication Group at the Pentagon, he returned to San Diego to be closer to family and raise his daughter. Chief Duenas joined the California Air National Guard's 147th Combat Communications Squadron as a drill status guardsman and later accepted a full-time AGR position. He spent the final 17 years of his military career in combat communications. His deployments include Operation Enduring Freedom in Kuwait and Operation Iraqi Freedom in Iraq. Chief Duenas holds an MBA, a BA in management, and 2 associate's degrees from the Community College of the Air Force. He is a life member of the VFW, the EANGUS, and the AFSA, for which he has served as chapter president and division trustee for retiree and veteran affairs. He remains active in the Chamorro community as a life member for the Sons and Daughters of the Guam Club of San Diego and the vice president of the House of Chamorro in Balboa Park. Chief Duenas has 1 daughter, 2 fur grandchildren, and a fiance. Chief Tomlinson and Chief Duenas, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mandy. Appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, I think, in the Pacific. What I'm going to cover tonight is really important for the upcoming international conference. I'm going to talk a little bit about the credentialing, the paperwork that you need to take care of and bring to the conference in Orlando, and a little bit more about the chapters in good standing. Next slide, please. So the first step in the credentialing process in getting ready for the international convention is going to be the credential documentation will be sent to all chapters presidents on or about the 5th of July. It's going to be based on the chapter strength as of June 30th, the end of this month, and it will be electronically sent to the chapter presidents as a matter of record. Whoever is listed as your chapter president on the 5th of July, that's who's going to get the email. You've got a couple of weeks before that deadline. If you've had recent changeover in leadership and you have a new president, please get that DOO, Directory of Officers, typed up and submitted through your regional director. We'll get it up to headquarters and get the chapter president changed over. We have this problem every year where it's close to the time frame where people leave PCS or resign, and then the credentials go to the wrong individual, and then we have to really backtrack and take care of that. So I want to mention this up front right now. If you are not currently the chapter president, on matter of record, you need to get that DOO sent in. Per the AFSR manual, the voting will be 1 vote for every 25 members you have in your chapter on the 30th of June. So for example, if you have 200 members, that means you will get 8 votes. In the documentation that you receive for credentialing is going to be a list of everybody in your chapter as of 30 June. And it will also say at the end of that, the total number of members and then the total number of votes. That's going to be very important because you're going to need to put that on the credentialing document that I'll go over here in a few minutes. Your chapter membership needs to designate a chapter chief delegate and an alternate delegate that will be attending the convention in Orlando in August, and that is running from August 7th through the 10th. It's very important that you list the chief delegate and alternate delegate, as well as any other attendees that are going to be going to the actual conference. The form that you'll do this on is the accreditation of chapter delegates, and that form will be signed by both your president of your chapter and the secretary, and then be given to the chief delegate to carry it forward to Orlando. If the chief delegate is not the chapter president because he or she is not attending, that's okay. Just designate who is going to be from your membership meeting in the next 6 weeks, and then list the alternate delegate that could vote in the absence of the chief delegate not being in the room. When the chief delegate gets to Orlando, during check-in and registration, they will point you over to the credentials desk. Myself, Michelle Chabot from our board, and Sandy Valdizotti from our board will be helping the current past international president, Mike Carton, who is also the senior advisor for the international board. And we will be doing the credential verification. Using the form that you turn in, we will go through that form and validate the delegates and the voting strength before voting is started. Be sure your chapter discusses ahead of time now how you want the chapter chief delegate to vote. For example, during the month of July, you will receive notice, the chapter president, once again, to share with the chapter on who will be running for office. The one office that we will be voting for this year, very critical, is the international president. His term is up again this year, so we'll be voting a chapter president or a division president, and we will also be voting retired and Veterans Affairs trustee. So there'll be 2 of those that you'll have to let your chief delegate know how you want them to vote. We have not seen any other talking papers or anything that will be voted at the international conference that will require the actual formal voting that I've seen as of now. So I just believe the only thing you'll need to have this for is the election of officers. Again, please add this topic to make a decision to your June or July membership meeting. It's very important that that's done. Next slide. In order for your chapter to vote at the international conference or convention, the chapter must be in good standing. And the DP Bappe mentioned this briefly in his opening remarks. Good standing is defined as all documents, airman activity or Americanism and activity and financial reports, AAFs are turned in, annual budget has been turned in, the audit and current directory of officers have been submitted and accepted by AFSA as of 15 July. That is the date that the international president has made as a cutoff for member or chapters in good standing. This includes the financial portion of your AAF needs to be validated, not missing any information, and it must be correctly listed, flowing from chapter or quarters to quarters all the way through. Chapters that are not in good standing will not be allowed to vote, but they will be allowed to attend the IC. But again, if you're not a chapter in good standing, you're not going to be able to vote and carry forward what your chapter would like you to do. So it's very important now to make sure that your chapter is in good standing and submit any missing documents that are listed above. If you have any questions about whether your chapter is in good standing or not, please contact your regional director. We will check it out. We have a list that we get regularly from headquarters, and we will try to work with you and help you get caught up so that whoever you are sending to the international convention, you can make sure that they will be able to participate in the voting process. Does anyone have any questions on anything that I covered? Okay, again, we want to make sure as many of our chapters that are there are going to be able to vote and that you understand what the process is going to be. There's a lot of times when people show up at the international convention and they bring the credentials and they don't know what it means. So be sure that if you've been designated as the chief or alternate delegate, that you know what you need to do. And again, if you have any questions, please contact your regional director and we will get you smart about this. We want to make sure that all our Division 6 chapters that participate come well-versed in what needs to be done, educated, and will be the smart division that will take care of everything the way it needs to be done. Thank you for your time. Back to you, Mandy.
Mandy, may I share the screen for just maybe 45 seconds to a minute?
Sure.
You have the form?
I do have the form up.
Good.
All right. So up here on the screen is the form that Chief Tomlinson discussed, right? Every year, and we know it seems real basic, right? But every year we run into chapter presidents that get stressed out. They're running around the conference trying to get things corrected, and we want it to be as stress-free as possible for y'all. So up here is the accreditation of chapter delegates form. It's pretty self-explanatory up here on the top. And as you go through it, your chief delegate is on here, your first alternate chief delegate, second alternate chief delegate, and all your other delegates attending. Your voting strength is on the right side of the form here, and that comes from the credentials report that Chief Tomlinson talked about, which is this form. You'll get it from headquarters staff. I didn't share the entire document because it has all of your chapter members on it, their names, addresses. There's a lot of personal information on there. But on the very last page of that report is your total number of votes. In this case, this is chapter 1260. When this report was pulled, they had 40 votes based on their membership. So that 40 votes goes onto the form here with all the chief delegates. And as Chief Tomlinson mentioned, 2 signatures on the bottom is your president and your secretary. So that's an example of the form. And this example is your credentials report. We know it seems real basic, but we want it to be as stress-free as possible for y'all, so we're not running around the conference stressed out. We want y'all to enjoy it and be able to focus on the conference. Pending any questions, I'll turn the floor back over to Trustee Dillahunt, and I'll stop sharing the screen.
Thanks, DP, for bringing up the form.
Yes, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. All right, now we're going to roll into Chief Duenas.
All right. Good evening. Yeah, it should be good evening everywhere, everybody. I'm Andrew Duenas. I'm the elections chair for Division 6. And just real quick, I just dropped into the chat some parliamentary procedures that for those of you going to the IC will definitely want to know. And then also when we have our division summit as well. So that goes along with everything that Bob is talking about and what I'm going to be talking about here. So parliamentary procedures are another part of all that. So here we go with the elections. Here's what I'm going to be talking about for elections. And if nothing else, we want to make sure your elections are transparent, they have integrity, and making sure that they're fair. And at the very end, best of practices, there's going to be a flow chart to help you as a chapter leader to be able to do all that. All right, so here we go. Next slide, please. So everything we do, right, comes from a manual, whether we're active duty or in AFSA. So AFSA has our set of manuals, and this it starts out with Air Force Manual, or Air Force AFSA Manual 100-1, and it's the bylaws. And from the bylaws, that's where the other manuals in AFSA are developed. So here's where we start out with elections, and it gives some of the qualifications, what they need to, the member needs to adhere to be able to run for an office. And the bottom three bullets are some interesting notes to see about those certain positions in your chapter. So the Retiring Veterans Affairs Trustee needs to be a veteran. The UST must be a uniformed member, and the Family Matters Trustee must be a uniformed or a family member. So as these positions are coming up in your chapter, please make note of those. And that's in 100-1. All right, next slide, please. And now we're moving on to the other manual that's developed from the 100-1. It's the 100-2, Policies and Procedures. And what's in there as well, under Principle 6, Section 5, is the elected versus appointed positions. We get questions on this all the time, and don't hesitate if you still have a question on this. But as you can see there in 100-2, it lists what positions you need to elect for and what you as a chapter leader, I would say chapter president, can appoint to. All right, next slide, please. So now that we talked about the positions, we go on to some of the procedures on how to start holding an election. The big thing here is you have to send out to all your membership at least 30 days prior to your election who is being elected, or I'm sorry, what positions are being elected for. And that way that gives people enough time to decide if that's what they want to do and the position that they want. And of course, you'll submit a nomination package so they can submit to the membership as well. And then it goes on to the very bottom, and I've added this. This is not in the manual, but the question came up, so I thought it was a very good thing to add about proxy nominations. I know, the way the ops tempo is going, and you still want to serve in AFSA as a chapter leader, you're deployed, okay, or somewhere where you can't make that meeting. Well, nothing in the AFSA manuals address that. So if that's the case, please bring that up to your RD, myself, or to the DP, and ask, if he could give you permission to do that, because only he's the one that can grant that. And if AFSA headquarters says anything, you got your backing because the DP blessed it. So something good to note, because there have been instances over the years where someone is deployed, but they want to serve, and we want them to give them the opportunity to do that. And just because they're deployed, we don't want to stop them from doing that. All right, next slide, please. And one thing to note here, I'm just going to jump to the bottom here, is we have our AFSA standing rules, or AFSA D6 standing rules. And you guys may have standing rules in your chapter. So we also have some at the division level. And what that standing rules do is they allow us some leeway to do AFSA business the way we see fit. And so we have AFSA standing rule 6-3, and it's for the term of office for our chapter leaders and a few other things that it'll address. But one of the things here is the odd and even election years. So please take note if it's the odd or even year that you're electing for. I know there's some confusion of when we start them. Like this year, we'll start our elections in 2026, but we're electing for 2027. So 2027 is an odd year, and that's what you would go by, not the year that you're starting the election, but the year that they're going to actually serve office. And I've got it highlighted in different colors there, so you could quickly point out, what you do for an even year and an odd year. All right, next slide, please. And going on in the standing rules that we've amended, AFSA Manual 100-2 is appointees, and this addresses, the treasurer, secretary, senior advisor, and committee chairs, and you can appoint them as the chapter president up to 1 year. And then also, we want to make a note that the chapter president can assign any of the trustees any special duties that they want. So just because the last trustee, let's say number 4 in your chapter had communications, that doesn't mean that that same trustee number, when they're elected, they'll have communications. So just make note of that. All right, next slide, please. All right, and here we're going to some of the best practices that I talked about earlier. And it's a flow chart of how you should remind yourself of what to do when. And as you can see, the number 1 there is pre-election preparation. And just as Bob was saying earlier, or the DP was saying earlier, this is, if you start now for elections, and our elections are held every October and November, this will go very easy. And I know with the ops tempo again that you guys have, it's very hard to remember that, but this flow chart hopefully will help you stay on track, so it's not any stress on you to have your yearly elections. All right, next slide, please. Again, number 2 is the voting process. And again, the 3 things I talked about earlier: transparency, integrity, and fairness. All these 3 all those 3 statements add to this process here. And moving on to number 3, the Sergeant of Arms, that adds to the integrity of the process. And again, these slides will go out to you guys. Is that right, Mandy? Yeah. So these slides go out to you guys, so no need to start taking notes or pictures or however you want to do it right now. So next slide, please. And it goes on to post-election procedures. Yes, there is some things you as a chapter leader should do after your elections are over. And then always on number 5, get your executive council together and go, hey, how did we do? What can we do better as far as your chapter goes? Yes, you could follow these procedures, but your chapter may be unique in how they do their elections. Everything that I said before with the transparency, integrity, and fairness, but you guys might have little tweaks that you guys do locally there. And that is something you could put in a standing rule for your chapter. So, it's not forgotten on the best practices you guys developed for your chapter. All right, next slide, please. All right, well, that's all I have. Absolutely. If you have any questions right now, happy to answer them. If you think of anything later, please bring it up to myself or your RD, or anybody in the EC, really. We're definitely here to help you guys. We don't want you guys to stress on any of this stuff, and we could help you cut to the chase. So let us help you do that, and then you can move on and, think clearly about your job number one. I should say your family number one, your job, and then having us in there as well. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Chief Tomlinson and Chief Duenas, for your time. Appreciate y'all. All right, rolling right along. Y'all got a sneak peek already, but so we have a special guest from a satellite chapter in Honduras. Technical Sergeant Sean Hastings is going to be answering some questions as a avid participant in the IC. Technical Sergeant Sean Hastings serves as an NTOIC of the Air Transportation Function for the 612th Air Base Squadron at Soto Cano Air Base, Honduras. He enlisted in the Air Force in 2014 as an air transportation specialist and has served at Ramstein Air Base, Germany, Osan Air Base, South Korea, Joint Base Elmendorf Richardson, Alaska, Delray Air Force Base, Delaware, and Incirlik Air Base in Turkey, before arriving in Soto Cano in 2025. Tech Sergeant Hastings first joined the Air Force Sergeants Association at Djibouti, serving as a member from 2018 to 2020. He later joined Chapter 1660 in Turkey, where he served as Vice President in 2024. Upon assignment at Soto Cano, he established a satellite chapter of 1261 and currently serves as its president. So, Tech Sergeant Hastings, welcome. I know you're enjoying life on the beach.
I am here in El Salvador right now, but thank you very much, Trustee Duenas.
Welcome. Ready to answer some questions, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So how did you first get involved in AFSA? I know you said you joined at Djibouti and then later continued on in Turkey. So how did you first get involved in AFSA?
Yes, ma'am. Initially, it was just joining an organization that was on base in Elmendorf, just to kind of get my feet wet and kind of see what it's like to be a part of an organization that was so large and everything like that when it comes to getting involved with the base. I wasn't too active, to be honest, in my time in Djibouti because of life. But that did bring me later on when a good friend of mine, Charles Offenbacher, invited me out to a meeting in Turkey where I ended up joining Chapter 1660.
Awesome.
And then, Sean, I got a question for you, brother. First off, El Salvador, we got folks deployed there. I'm about to volunteer for one of those rotations. That looks like an awesome place to be. But no, when it comes to the international conferences, right? I know on the call we've got some folks that haven't been to them before, right? And I remember being a chapter trustee and vice president. I've got certain people around me like pushing me to go, right? Go talk some AFSA business. That was the big push, right? And I got certain impressions, right, of like, man, some of these folks pushing, they're kind of on the older side. Is this for like active duty folks? I mean, from your point of view, right? Like, what was it like from it being described to you at the chapter level and then getting there? Like, you get there, what was the experience like getting there? Is it what you thought it was going to be? Was it what was the tailoring to? What was it like?
Sure. When my buddy Chuck was telling me about the international convention and everything like that and what we're going to be doing, I realized in that conversation that we really were going at the next level, getting above that private org level. And when we ultimately got there, it was awesome to really feel like we're a whole lot closer as an organization or enterprise as AFSA. We're all in one place to talk AFSA, to make decisions because it was an election year. So being able to go there for an election year was a super awesome opportunity and to see AFSA at a different level. But also it was an opportunity for us to network and meet all the other chapters all around the world. So, yeah.
Awesome. So you mentioned that you are networking and got to meet a lot of people at the IC. Dang bugs.
Yeah.
What was your biggest takeaway from attending the international convention?
I would say biggest takeaway was the opportunity to meet all the SimSAFs. They were all there to they had a whole board where we got to ask them questions of what they think of what the Air Force is doing now and what AFSA is doing. So those opportunities, as you see some of these pictures, we have Command Chief Newman, who was Command Chief of AMC at the time, being able to hear him talk and trade patches. And then we had SimSAT 14 Murray. Got to have a great conversation and a real conversation with some of the great leaders that are all around the Air Force. So it was a super cool opportunity. The Space Force SimSAT or Sim Chief Master Sergeant of the Space Force, Menavega was also there. Got to trade patches, give them our Turkey 12 or 1660 patch. So that was cool. Trying to get our chapter name on the board. And then below we have the U.S. Transcom Command Chief, Chief Kruzenek, and then the photo with the newly elected IP Haro and currently acting as our president, our international president. So that was an awesome opportunity.
Hey, Sean, another question for you. What was your most memorable experience? And then if your most memorable experience wasn't fun, what was your funnest experience at the international conference?
I think most memorable experience was a conversation that we had with Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, retired Roy. He told us a little short story about his time as a first sergeant in Turkey, where he had some of his members that happened to break into the pool on base. And it was crazy to hear because just within that last week, that same incident reoccurred while we were in Turkey. Some of the LRS folks decided they wanted to jump into the pool and then run away from the cops. So it was a pretty cool opportunity to have those conversations with him. Most fun, maybe going out for a day of golf. No, it was the icebreakers were always a lot of fun. The icebreakers were great because everybody just relaxed out there just to have fun, network, meet new people, and everything like that.
Thank you, Sergeant Hastings, for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Well, now we're going to roll into some Q&A time. If you have some questions, feel free to ask them, unmute yourself, or you can type them in the message block and I can read them out. Please, if you're going to direct a question at somebody, an individual, please say who you want to ask the question to.
And then while folks are thinking of questions, real right quick, just keep thinking those questions. I promise. Sorry, I cut somebody off. But in the room that jumped on the call here, we have International Vice President Kissinger. So, want to give him a shout out for jumping on. Right. If you do have any questions too about the IC specific, we can address those to us or to him as well. Right. Then keep rolling along with business. But so sorry I cut somebody off. It might have been Senior Advisor Tansley. Was that you that had a question, Tansley? Or was it, oh no, somebody had a question, but I'll leave the floor back open.
I have a question for, man, name's escaping me, for CP, or Honduras Chapter CP. I have a question for you. Sorry, that's my fault. I am blanking so hard right now. That's on me. As a leader, right, as a NCO and a chapter president, what was the most or your biggest lesson you took away from the whole thing? Like, what helped you as a leader? Is there like a moment that in your conversations or in a briefing that you took away that you took back to your unit and really helped mold you as a leader?
Thank you for the question. Name is Tech Sergeant Hastings. I'll shorten my name next time so you can see it on the video. The biggest takeaway is that I would say our voice does matter. And there are lots of opportunities out there to express our voice, and what's actually happening on the ground level. And I do think the International Convention, AFSA in general, has been a great organization for me to see that and actually get my voice out there, talk to those key leaders at the highest level, and be able to talk to them and be like, hey, this is what's happening on the ground level. And from there, I get to express that to my airmen, to the other NCOs around me in my squadron. Like, hey, like we're more than just Air Force worker bees. There's definitely way more. So I would say that was the biggest thing for me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So we got some time tonight, right? So real quick, Trustee Dillahunt, if you don't mind, I've got a PowerPoint I can scroll through real quick, and maybe it'll generate some questions. Won't take but 3 or 4 minutes. Is that acceptable, or would you prefer I wait or not?
That's fine.
Okay. All right. So we got a PowerPoint here, y'all. I'll share the screen again just real quick, right? Sure. I don't know how this is gonna go. If I hit this button, will it stay on that screen? Can you guys see the screen?
Yeah.
We good to go? Okay. All right. So here's just a quick a PowerPoint breakdown. Here's a background of what the AFSA conference
Sorry,
is.
DP. Yeah, put it in a presentation mode.
Where's that at? Is that this button?
Try them.
Are you operating with multiple screens?
I am.
Do a control shift and then whichever direction you need to switch the monitor to.
What if I go like this? Nope. Okay, control shift, you said?
Yeah, control shift and then whichever direction. It'll do it. It should anyway. It'll swap the primary screen.
Our good old neighbor computer expert.
Well, shucks. Can you guys not see it at all?
Or sorry, window shift. Window shift
Oh,
direction.
window shift.
Oh, we do have a
Window.
question.
Shift.
Then directional arrow. Yeah, there you
Got
go.
it?
Here we
Yep,
go.
that worked.
Perfect.
Well, you're the man. Thank you.
Yep.
So real quick, right? You've been hearing about the summit. These are some cost analysis slides that we send out to the division. The last few are in work. We got Sergeant Berg from 1260 helping us out. I've got my last 4 I've got to get out, and I'll get those out no later than noon tomorrow. But when it comes to the international conference, the overall event is the summit. Then we've got the international conference, and then we got the AFSA heads. So Chief Tomlinson was talking about earlier, and Chief Duenas was talking about earlier with voting and your voice being heard. You know, your voice does matter. The AFSA conference, the international conference, is where we need y'all. So that's 7 to 9 August. That's the time to be there, right? And if you can get funding to go all the way through the whole event, more power to you. Sometimes it just takes an ask, even with the financial constraints right now. I sent out the ask, and we got 8 folks from Holloman's maintenance group funded. They found some funding to send 8 folks. So sometimes it just takes the ask. And with the PEDs, these are going to be all the professional development symposiums to be going on. Where's it going to be? As you all know, Orlando. Here's all the hotel information, the primary and the alternate hotel. All the transportation from the hotel over to the venue, then around the venue. There's plenty of spots for food, right? So sometimes leadership asks those questions. And then the overflow hotel, it's not far at all from the actual venue. It's just on the other side of the freeway. The agenda is going to be loaded onto the app. There is an app called the Summit. So you can download that for real-time updates. You can log in and see live updates of the actual event. Right now, this is what's loaded onto the app. You can see we got a lot of folks that have from Division 6 that go on out there, and it's your time. Like I said earlier, you walk up to that microphone, you can ask questions to those chiefs, to the AFSA board of directors, to Executive Director Reed, right? Literally, you go up to that mic and you can ask those questions down to the heart of our foundation, of our association, right? The foundation, legislative. You can ask those questions to our Uniformed Services trustee. You can ask them to Mr. Nutman or Executive Director Reed, even International President Haro. Every chapter is going to be different, but you can get your cost analysis when we send it out to y'all. When it comes to uniforms, you can see up here, there's icebreakers. This year's theme is boots on the ground. So however you take that, show up and have a good time with it. So when we talk about fun, there's a lot of fun that happens in the suites, hospitality suite, or wherever we're going to be having those events. You can get funded from your unit. In that case, you're going to need some OCPs. You're going to need semi-formal or mess dress if you own it. You can go PTDY as well, where you're not charged leave. And then so on and so forth. If you take leave, show up in some business casual and some formal clothes as well. And then for us, Division 6, we're going to be planning a meal. We're working that right now to get together. We're going to do our traditional division photo. And then right now we're looking to get a room for some crosstalks, more to come on that. But overall, it is a real fun time as well. And I had my doubts for the first one. And it is a fun time. You do get FaceTime. You get some one-on-one time with Air Force leadership. My first time there, I spent like an hour one night with Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Wright. It was actually really cool. I was really nervous at first, but it was just a great time. And with that, it looks like we got some questions, and I can yield the floor back to you, Trustee Dillahunt. Maybe that simulated some more questions.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that information and the cost analysis and everything. I think that'll help a lot of people, even if they're not getting unit funded, to know kind of how much they need a budget for, for this whole trip. It's an amazing time. It was amazing going again. So I look forward to it. The question was about the overflow hotels, and I see that CP Hastings and Mr. Kissinger, sorry if I said your name wrong, I'm so sorry, put some hotel recommendations in there, and I believe that he was mentioning that's what he means by they're looking at other options for an overflow hotel, because obviously the DoubleTree is probably going to get filled up, Hyatt Regency is probably going to get filled up and stuff. So just looking at other options. And then we had talked earlier at the division level of putting a list together of where everybody's staying. So if you need a ride and you're staying offsite, we can have people that do have rentals be able to take you to and fro if you can't get an Uber or whatnot as well. Thank you for that information for all y'all that submitted it for the hotel. I don't see any more questions, DP, at this time. Would you like to provide some closing remarks, sir?
Heck yeah, we'll do closing remarks. Then before closing remarks, we'll talk a little bit about the parade of checks as well. So every year after the AFSA House Foundations, with money set aside for different causes, and we call that the parade of checks, right? So it's a time to get together, talk about it with your chapters, right? Talk about some of these causes. I've got an example of it here, and I think we're going to share the screen the right way this time. Looks like it's shared the right way. Can you all see the screen and the form up on the screen? All right,
Yeah.
Can you make it
can see
larger,
it.
please? Thank you.
Is that large enough? Okay.
Yes.
So as you can see up here, this is a donation form where you can fill it out and identify what foundation that you want to donate it to. The foundations are all listed on the form. So as you can see, you've got the Uniformed Services Foundation, Airman Memorial Building Fund, Airman Memorial Foundation, then the Enlisted Foundation. So all the information's on the website. I've got an email I'm going to queue out this weekend as a reminder to everybody. And along with that, every year we do get questions about the enlisted village, right? So when it comes to the enlisted village, the AFSA for Worthy Charities donation form, it's not used for donating to the enlisted village, right? So for the enlisted village, if your chapter decides that they do want to donate funds to the enlisted village, there's a representative at the international conference. If the representative's not there, we'll get you in touch with headquarters to make the donations however you all deem fit. But every year it comes up. So this year we're trying to get ahead of it and let you all know about the foundations, and then as well as the enlisted village donation as well. So the information's there. We'll be sending the email out. If you have questions, just ask, y'all. Just ask. We are here to help. Thank you everybody for your time and coming out. Time is one of those things that there's just not enough of in the day to get everything done you're trying to get done. Most of the folks on the call, everybody I see on the call, for the most part is active duty, right? The chapter leaders, I should say, are all active duty for everybody I see. So thank you for volunteering. Thank you for stepping up. We had a lot of really good conversations tonight about the IC and also chapter elections. Chief Duenas brought up a point about, you can be deployed and be a chapter president. Absolutely, you can. I was one of those folks that did it. I was, deployed as a tech sergeant. I was bouncing back and forth between 3 locations in Africa, and I still had a wife and kiddo at home. Right? It's challenging. You can do it, but at the same time, if you stay that chapter president, you've got a vice president there too, and a team that can come together and keep the chapter running while you're gone, and you can still have your voice heard, right? So it's definitely something that can happen. We brought up a lot to talking about AFSA standing rules. We talked a lot about the AFSAMs. When it comes to those things, the only way to deviate from the standards that are established in the AFSAMs is going to be you all creating standing rules. Okay, so if you don't have standing rules on file with us, talk to your general membership about it. The current standard based off the AFSAMs for your terms of office is 2 years for your elected positions. So your chapter president, vice president, trustee 1, 2, and 3, those are all 2-year terms. If you want to go to 1-year terms, we got to have those standing rules on file. If you need help with those, that's why we've got regional directors. That's why we've got DVP Tobler. That's why we've got me. That's why we've got Trustee Chabot. We are all here to help. We've all literally been in your shoes. A majority of us too on the EC, or even the retired folks, they were all in AFSA in your shoes as active duty as well. So we understand it. We can help you through all those struggles and answer any questions you have. Once again, the theme of the international conference, right, is focused on you all, right? You all matter. Your voice matters. The international conference is a perfect place for it. So we hope to see you all out there. If you guys have questions about funding, it's great. If you have questions about how to present it, ask. We've got the PowerPoints queued up. We're sending them out. We've got help sending them out. They'll all be done by this weekend. Those are effective tools to go out and talk to your units, talk to your commanders, your squadron commanders, your Delta commanders, your group commanders, your installation commanders, NAF commanders. We got a couple NAFs in our division. Feel free to go talk to them. Establish those relationships if you don't have them. All this is driven around relationships and how we are impacting those that need it through quality of life. Once again, thank you all. We are here to help. So please, please, please ask those questions. Thank you for leading, and we'll all stick around until the end. But before we jump off, I would be remiss if I did not let IVB Christinger take the floor for a little bit. So thank you, sir, for jumping on. When the floor is yours, IVP.
Thank you, Cole. I certainly appreciate it. As I heard through the questions, I got to tell you, the AFSA International Convention, the summit, it is an awesome time. It's an opportunity for you to network, to meet old friends, make new friends, to learn things, I mean, how many other organizations can you go to and interact and walk up and talk to one of the legends in our Air Force when we talk to our former Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force? And the things that we do at ASA is always about taking care of our members and our families, and I certainly appreciate that. You know, I was listening to folks talking about some of their experiences at the conference, and you know, I got to tell you, well, like I said, it's always a great time for me. It's always a great time to catch up with old friends and again make new friends. I said that once before, but it's very true. I mean, I've been all over this country, and you know, I'm going to date myself here, but I think this is going to be my 43rd international convention. So yeah, I'm dating myself a little bit. My first one was in 1988 when we were in Washington D.C. Bob Tomlinson may remember that, and maybe one other person. I can't see all the names online, but I'm sure there's a couple of us that probably remember that first convention. Or at least that was my first convention in D.C. And then I missed a few years, and then from '96 to present, I missed one when I was over in Korea. I couldn't get back for that, but otherwise I was here for all those. But I got to tell you, it's a great opportunity to ask questions, get information, get updates, get reballooned, and again, a lot of crosstalk, and it's just, I can't emphasize the great opportunity, great time that's available for you. Be smart, ask the questions, be courteous to our senior ranking officers that are there, and certainly interact with them and get their input. But I know you'll have a great time. The question on that popped up, I put the information on the closest hotels. We have not signed a contract yet for an overflow, so that has not been done to my knowledge yet. But those were the three closest hotels that are basically within walking distance. I know people probably don't want to walk 3/4 mile on that heat down there, but yeah, there's about a half mile and two of them about 3/4 mile. So I just think that. So Cole, I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate the opportunity to sit in with you all. Sorry I joined in late. Don't know what happened with my counter translation on the time start, but in any case, at least I showed up. Better late than never, right? So back to you, sir.
Awesome. We're so glad to see you online, and we're also glad to see CP trainer online too, or Division II trustee now online. So glad to see some folks online that you know, even outside Division VI. And it's just great once again that all of us, everyone took time to be online. With that, we still got 4 minutes. We'll go around the room real quick to see if anybody else has anything for the group. I'm just going to go by order of who's on the screen from the EC. Chief Tomlinson, do you have anything, sir?
And just please work on your credentials. We want you to come to the international conference and make sure that you're prepared, and not a lot of running around when you get there. So if you have any questions, please reach out to your regional director or come to me directly, and we'll help you out. I just want you to come to the table and drop the form off, and everything is right. Thank you.
Heck yes, and I've said it. I'm sounding like a broken record. That is the goal: is you all come to the IC and can relax. I've been the chapter president before that was running around as a chief delegate because I didn't do my forms right. So if you guys have those questions, now's the time to ask. These are the perfect subject matter experts that can help out. CP Hastings, do you have anything, sir?
Yes, sir. I know you mentioned the parade of checks, and I remember one of my favorite parts was the auction that happens at the parade of checks. Are you aware if that's going to be happening again?
IVP Kissinger is indicating that it will likely happen again.
Copy. Well, I just want to put that out there for everyone, all the chapter presidents. Start talking with your chapters, thinking about things that you may want to bring that is a little heritage of your location. I know for us in Turkey, we brought a little leather jacket with our ASA patch on it that was auctioned off, and then whoever ended up purchasing that item, that money went towards the charities for AFSA. So we have a couple ideas for here in Honduras because there's lots of history and heritage out here. So look forward to it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, CP. All right. Trustee Duenas, what do you have, sir?
Yeah, all I could say for you chapter leaders, don't hesitate to ask the question. I know by now everybody knows how to use text. And if you have a question that's you're walking on base somewhere and you have a question about AFSA, please don't hesitate to at least text your RD. At least it's out of your mind, and then you could, think about what you're doing at that moment, and then your question will get answered. I can't tell you, how many times I've done that as a chapter president, and it just helped, the stress relief, like DP was saying, on anything. So same thing coming up to the IC. The credentials forum always seems a point of stress for chapter leaders. So get those questions out early, and so that when you go see Trustee Tomlinson, it'll give you the thumbs up and you can press on. So that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Trustee Dillahunt, do you have anything?
I do not, other than the next training will be on Thursday, July 17th, which we will focus on final planning for our Division 6 stuff while at the IC, as well as Law Week, which will be coming up pretty much right after the IC.
It sure will. It sneaks up on us. The whole year just sneaks up. It seems like we just did elections and we're getting everybody in order last year, and then it just seems like Christmas was the other day. But here we are in June. And Trustee Dillahunt, huge shout out to you for putting all this together, getting that schedule together, and forecasting out, right? If we don't plan, we're gonna fail, right? So this is awesome. Thank you for putting all this together. DVP Dobler, you got anything, sir?
First off, I just want to say thanks for everybody's time. Much appreciated on a Thursday night. I know some of y'all are repeat customers. We do have a lot of meetings, but I appreciate everybody taking the time to come out here and get after it. Thank you, CP Hastings. My apologies on the botched ball before. That's on me. So if I see you at IC this year, first one's on me. That one's not on DP Bappe, so I guess I owe one if I make it. But again, thank you for everybody's time and just getting out here and getting after it. Much appreciated.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, just as all started with the D6 virtual summit, I owe a lot of D6 executive council members drink. My Amex is going to be hurting. It's going to be screaming. Glad to see somebody else going to be contributing to the cause. And a partner in crime, DVP Dobler, it wouldn't have it be anybody else. That's awesome. All right. If Chief Lockvick is still on, sir, do you have anything for us?
No, I do not. I think everything was covered very well, and appreciate everyone tuning in. And don't have anything to add beyond that, but this is a good meeting and I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Chief. And oh goodness, we went 1 minute over, but we got it done in an hour. So we did the best we could to give as much info that we could to y'all on a lot of the common questions. We talked about cost analysis, elections, all that good stuff. I'll stick around for a while. If y'all have anything, I'll be here, and I'm sure some members of D6EC will be. And thank you again, IVP Christinger, for coming out. We appreciate you, sir. It's great to see you.
Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Hey, good night. VP's gone. We got Rob on still. Nathan's just been staring at a sandwich this whole time, just waiting to eat.
Yeah, kind of sandwich you got? Talk with your mouth full. Come on.
My wife got Korean sandwiches.
Nice.
All right. Well, we
Sounds like that's
appreciate
it.
Yep.
All right.
We'll see you
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Yeah, great meeting.
you later.
You too. Bye.
All right. Rob's still on. Nathan, you're on, and Mandy's on two different accounts here.